I'm going to be talking about my experience working as a sales assistant or fragrance advisor in Selfridges, which is a department store in London. But before I start the story, I need to kind of rewind and tell you just like the backstory. So I was 21 years old. I believe this was April, March 2024, around that time. And as you guys know, this is around the time that I discovered Law of Attraction and I started waking up. Until this day, of course, it's very much my belief and it's something that I live by every second basically. But that was just like when it was cracking and I was experimenting. And so in my mind, it was a very transitional period where I was going from, how can I say this, lack mindset to abundance mindset to, a limited mindset to a unlimited mindset and things of that nature. And I said, well, why don't I try manifesting a fragrance advisor job, like, working in a department store. I did a visualization and I vividly remember I thought to myself, I was like, okay, should I maybe make the pay good? Or, should I make it just so that I work as a fragrance advisor? And back then, my belief wasn't as strong as it is now. So, of course, you can choose your pay, visual. Spoiler alert, my manifestation came true. And what I learned is to be a bit more specific about pay and wages. Because you're definitely super powerful. You can have the job and also perfect pay. Why not? So that's something that, I definitely learned to 100% do. Because you don't want to work and get pennies for it. Do you know what I mean? In the area, like, it doesn't matter. It will be delivered to you as long as you have the will and the desire, like that burning desire. And so I was chill about the wage. But anyways, so I think I applied for this agency in London and I saw that they needed a sales assistant, like a fragrance advisor. Applied for that, didn't hear for them for a while. And then they messaged me and they said, okay, can you do an interview? But the interview, it was in a recording format. You read questions and then you send it off and you can re-record the video, you know? Okay, and so, guys, I'm so funny because literally, like, there were these two questions that were so dumb, in my opinion, dumb. And it's like, guys, are you hiring or not? Like, y'all are doing the most. Like, literally, stop playing around. The first question was, tell us a situation where you needed to, like, help a colleague or, like, yeah, like, tell us a situation. And I said, look, this is recording, right? And I said, too many times. And I pressed next. Okay, and then the second one was, what does luxury mean to you? And I said, I don't know. Next. Like, literally, I literally didn't give a shit. It's like, guys, come on. Like, you stop doing the most. Like, are you hiring or not? Anyways, I didn't really think much of it. I sent it off. I didn't re-record the video. With my CV, I most definitely 100% lied. Like, I'm sorry, but I do think that they need people who have experience with fragrances. And me saying, oh, I love perfumes, like, they wouldn't really give a shit about that. So you do kind of need to lie. But it's really not that deep. Everyone lies on their CV. Like, I don't really think it's low vibrational. For those who think that I'm contradicting myself, it was just like a little bit of fun. And I did my job, and I did a good job pretty much. Anyways, a month had passed, didn't hear from anything. And then they messaged me, and then I got the job. They gave me like a slideshow of things to wear, how it all works, and little things like that. They told me the wage. The wage was terrible. The wage was around maybe £10 hourly, like £10.50, I believe. And for those thinking, oh my god, Calvin, that is a lot. Like, because I know there are a lot of people who are subscribed to me who aren't from the UK, but no, that's like terrible pay because you spend £10 on travel, and then with Selfridges, you can only really eat in the buffet, which is like £6 to £7. And so yeah, the money it wasn't really good, but anyways, I just did it for the vibes. Now, I have my notes here, and these are my notes from specifically April 2024, and ciao, I cannot understand his handwriting, but we'll see. I'm just going to tell you the story. And so, on my first day, it was very confusing. Nobody really helped me. I had to go through like some back entrance. You get a card, you tap in, you go through security, you have a bunch of lockers. I didn't know how the lockers worked. And even now, like before I was recording this video, I was thinking, wait, Calvin, how did you manage to find the perfume store where you were supposed to be working? I really don't know how, because it was confusing. Like, you have security and you need to show the security. Like, basically, guys, I had nobody. Nobody was really helping me. And so I think I was 10 minutes late. I managed to find a stand. Now, the brand that I was working for is Diptyque. I'm sure I can say the brand because I'm not going to be saying anything negative. Like, it's really not that deep. So yeah, it was Diptyque. And yeah, it was really chill. I remember the first day. I'll tell you something. It's kind of bad and I have it written here. Nobody gives you any training. So literally, because I've always been good with customers and because of my perfume knowledge, right off the bat I was good and I was able to save my ass. But when I arrived there, nobody was telling me anything, and I had to ask someone. I was like, hey, like, would you be able to show me roughly like what the best sellers are, the prices for everything? And it took me about a week to remember the prices and stuff, but it's really not that deep. You can usually look underneath and tell people the price. Like, it wasn't that deep. And yeah, so luckily I had one kind colleague who just showed me around and stuff. But with Selfridges, when I was working there, it wasn't like I couldn't just stand by the fragrance section. I had to, talk to customers about the candles and the home stuff, and yeah, that stuff was annoying. But yeah, it was really chill. It wasn't really that deep. You just stand the whole day, and it was really boring, but I was just being very positive. I was just getting used to everything. You have to wear like very smart clothing, and so I've always stood up since I was 16. Like, I've always worked in hospitality, barista, hair salons. I've had millions of jobs, honestly, in my time. Jobs where you don't even get breaks and stuff, and you're overworked and all of that. And so I've been through it all, but I found it extremely painful on my legs. And the reason why is because of the shoes, because you have to wear very smart shoes. I think after a few days, I was in so much pain that I thought, fuck this, I'm just gonna wear smart casual shoes. So that's what I did, and I don't think anyone noticed. And if anybody said anything, I would have told them to fuck off because it's not that deep. Anyways, let me tell you, so yeah, it wasn't really that special. I worked there for an entire 4 weeks. Some of the good experiences were, like, it was just very chill. Like, it was chill. Customers were usually nice. I was disappointed in the Arabs because you would think that they would be the ones who would buy anything, but I found that they were very, I don't know if it was language barrier. I don't know, they just, when I would quote the price, they wouldn't understand the word that I'm saying. There was like a lot of language barrier. Some of them were quite rude and stuff. I want to say, like, I don't know, it was weird. I remember with Diptyque, there was this one Middle Eastern name, like it had a perfume, and then a guy with his wife and their baby, he stopped me and he was like, do you know what this means? And I said, no. And he was explaining to me for like 10 minutes what it means, and I was like, okay, that's nice. And I don't really mean this in like a rude way, but it's like, it's just a sales assistant. Like, it's not that deep. Like, move on with your day. So I don't know what his point was, but bless him. Honestly, guys, I had a lot of fun. I would just spray perfume and I would be like, guys, what do you think this smells like? I was one of those very chill sales assistants, and you had a target each day. And when you would make a sale, you would have to write it down. And I don't know, I think it had to be like a few thousand, like maybe 3,000. And honestly, guys, I really did not care. I really didn't, because I know that I did a good job anyway. There were two managers. One of the managers was, I guess you could say, a bit mean, but because I was doing my affirmations and living in an abundance and positive mindset, I paid no attention, and I'm so grateful that I was able to tap in. I had a few good colleagues who were really nice, and we were just vibing. One of the managers, I guess you could say the mean one, I didn't really care. When I was upstairs, he said, okay, Calvin, can you go up to people and talk to them about the perfumes? And the first time I kind of ignored him because he was very, very mean and very passive aggressive. I'm very good with energy. Like, he just, he wasn't really genuine. And I just kind of like ignored it because no, baby, I'm not going to do that. And then he asked me a second time again, and he was like, okay, Calvin, can you, traffic stop? And I told him, no, like, I'm not going to traffic stop just because it's not a good look. You don't really do that in like upscale environments. I'm sorry, like, I just refuse. And this is like a big moment for me because it was the first time that I was not standing on business, but baby, I was sitting on business, because that's embarrassing. That's a humiliation ritual. And it's just a really bad look, in my opinion. Let me know if you agree. I feel like, in luxury environments, you just simply cannot go up to people and be like, hey, like, no, that's just very cheap. I'm editing this video and I'm just thinking it was a year and a half ago when I went through this. And I'm truly so grateful that I was able to tap in and have that type of mentality. Because believe me, I'm sure so many of you guys will be able to relate. I worked full time since the day I turned 16. I was fully independent and I've been through a lot. And it's kind of embarrassing for me to say, but I was a contortionist. I used to twist my limbs for everybody. I used to overwork myself, all for minimum wage. It's embarrassing. And so I just think it's always good to set boundaries in a workplace and to say no! Period. And so what I did tell him is, no, I will spray perfumes and hand it out to people who look interested. And that's what I did. And it was a fun experience. I had people who were kind to me. And I said, guys, what does this smell like to you? I'm very curious. What notes do you pick up? And it was just really funny. I was vibing, you know? I managed to attract really positive and kind people. There were these two girls who were like, oh, where are you from? By the way, guys, all of the customers, I want to say a good 3 or 4, not all of them, they said, oh, excuse me, where are you from? And I said, it's complicated, but I live in here. And they said, oh, because you sound South African. I thought you were one of my people. And I was like, no, I'm not. Like, so yeah, South African was like a big accent, but a lot of people were asking that. And so yeah, I just managed to attract really sweet people. What else? There was this really nice moment where there was this lady, she was Romanian. And the reason why I'm telling you she's Romanian is so that you guys can paint a picture in your mind. She had long hair, she wore like dark clothing. We were talking about fragrance and she was asking for my opinion on a fragrance for her to wear to Dubai. And she's one of those women who liked dark, sexy scents. So, you know, like Myrrh and Tonka by Jo Malone. And we were talking for, I want to say, maybe 15 minutes. Now, guys, my goal was to never sell things to people categorically. And when I told one of my colleagues after this, they were a bit shocked. They were like, what do you mean? But with this lady, we were talking for 15 minutes, just having fun. And I even, so the perfume that I was advising her to take with her to Dubai was Eau d'Ikhla. It's like a leather, sexy, dark scent. So it would have been perfect with her. And after 15 minutes, you know, she was just testing a few and drying down. And we were just talking back and forth, having a good time. And I even told her, I was like, listen, you can just walk around for an hour or so and see how it dries down on your skin. You don't need to buy it straight away. And also, because with Dubai, I told her, like, you know, because it's hot, maybe you don't really need it. You can go for something a bit more fresh. In the end, she ended up going for that perfume and she was really happy. She said, thank you so much. And afterwards, my colleagues, they gathered around me and they're like, oh, wow, Calvin, you really sold that shit. And I was like, what do you mean? And they said, oh, yeah, you were talking to her for 15 minutes trying to sell it, right? And I said, no, not really. Like, that's not really my goal. And they were all kind of confused. One of the negative things as well is managers telling you to go up to people and oh my gosh, I can't talk. One of the negative things that managers would do, and I kind of feel compassion for sales assistants, is, you know, they pressure you to go up to people and sell things. Now for me, because I was sitting on business, I didn't give a shit. I'm not going to do that because I view human beings as beings, you know, amazing divine beings, not ATMs. And I feel like people can just tell. And you naturally sell things when you're passionate and happy and you don't really have an intention of selling. And I remember there was this awkward moment. There was one colleague who was working for a different brand and it was a quiet hour. He was in his maybe 40s, 50s. He was like a refined man. He was in a suit and stuff. He was, you know, working for a brand. I don't know which one specifically. And I was just chilling, you know. And he went up to me, and this kind of makes me cringe. He went up to me and said, oh, have you noticed that it's usually people who don't have bags that just waste your time and don't buy anything? And I didn't say anything, but it's just kind of so silly. And it's like, in my mind, I looked at him and I thought, bitch, you can't afford anything in here. So who are you to talk? And this is this phenomenon with sales assistants, because it's like, guys, where is your tolerance? Where is your compassion? Where is your kindness and genuinity? Is that even a word? And yeah, you see this phenomenon. I see people complain about it on TikTok. You know that scene in Pretty Woman? You know, you guys know what I'm talking about. And it's like, I never once had it in my head to be rude to a person and be like, oh, you can't afford this, or, you know, buy something. Like, that doesn't make any sense. It's just so embarrassing. But anyways, yeah, there was that. Okay guys, I'm recording the video. Sorry, I look like a potato, a sexy potato. I washed my face off, tied my hair up. But I want to tell you this story as well, where there was this bizarre manager. Luckily, he was leaving, but there was a Chinese customer, a lady. She was minding her own business. What she was doing was, because she was Chinese, she wanted to send some of the Diptyque products, like this is kind of interesting, to China. But I think there was some type of restrictions, and so she would kind of need our help, and she would need to take pictures of the products, like the ingredients, and send it to maybe a courier. I don't know much about it, and it was really bizarre because there was this one manager who was clearly on. It was so obvious, and it was so bad, guys. I mean, how do you say this? Colombian cold? Let's just say that. And it was so bad to the point. I mean, I clocked it straight away. By the way, I do not endorse that. If any of you guys do that, I will sleep with one eye open. Anyways, it was really, really bad because that same Chinese lady, she said, "Excuse me, but your colleague is a bit strange." And so yeah, I think that's a theme. So some of the workers in those environments, they can be a bit strange, very, very typical. But yeah, luckily I wasn't really on that frequency, so I was only attracting nice people, but that is so bad. Like, guys, in my entire life, for a customer to actually go up to a staff worker and be like, "No offense, excuse me, but your colleague is a bit strange," and she was genuinely concerned because his eyes were like this. So, okay. I think the environment with a department store, you have to be a bit careful because I did notice, and I wrote down here that it can be a bit catty. There's a lot of like men, like, how can I say this? Fruity men who can be very mean. Let's be real, guys. You know what I mean when I say that? Who can just be like diva-like and just like, I don't know, be genuine. But luckily I didn't have to deal with that other than the manager. And by the way, after the situation where I told the manager, no, like, I'm not gonna traffic stop, one of the managers downstairs had a talk with me. Till this day, I don't know what his point was. I was thinking about it the other day and I just kind of laughed. Bless his soul. I don't know what his point was. And he said, Calvin, I want to talk to you about traffic stopping. And he said, do you know what that means? And I said, yeah. And he said, I don't know. I think he said, like, what do you think about traffic stopping? And I said, I don't really think it's like a good look. Like, it's just not a good look to like actually approach people. You don't usually do it in upscale environments, and trust me, Calvin knows. And he said, oh, is it because you're insecure? And I said, no, I'm definitely not insecure, it's just it's a bad look. And he was rambling for 5 minutes and I didn't understand his point. Till this day, I don't know what it was. But what I will tell you is, this is all I heard from him. He said, oh, Calvin, people go up to me, I wear Zara clothes, and they think that I wear Gucci, and they're very surprised when I tell them that it's Zara. And I was just looking at him like this. Like, you guys know me, like, sometimes I have an expressionless face. Like, when people say dumb shit, I'm just like this. Hold on, where's the camera? Where's the eye contact? Like this, I'm just like, literally blank expression. And he was rambling for 5 minutes. I couldn't understand a word that he was saying because of the thick accent as well. And yeah, I think at the end I was just like, okay, thank you for the lesson, but I'm still not gonna traffic stop. And yeah, so that was that. I don't know what his point was. I'm just trying to think now. Like, did he mean energy? Like, your energy is more important? I think that's what he meant, but yeah, but people can also sense when you're desperate and you're trying to sell things. It's how it is. And this is one of the tricky things about networking and, approaching people, because when I was in Selfridges, there was one girl who said, Calvin, you have amazing fragrance knowledge, right? So what you could do is you could go upstairs and really make connections. But baby, I'm somebody, even till this day now, I was offered this for something different. I thought to myself, and I don't really agree with approaching people and networking, because when you're doing it from a place of desperation or just like really trying to put yourself out there, I feel like sometimes it pushes people away from you because people can kind of feel it, and it's like people can feel that genuinity, because what can happen is people who like try to network and do all of that shit and get free things, they start viewing it's like not really genuine. You know what I mean? Like, it's not genuine and it's coming from a place of desperation. For me, what works is I don't chase, I attract, you know? Like, that's just been my number one thing, and it's true. Like, it just works for me. I don't know why. It's just like magic. But when I put in the effort and I try to network, it's cringe. Celebrities, apparently, when I was rambling to one of the customers, we were talking about perfumes and maceration, and I was so impressed because he was like, "Oh, like how long has this perfume been out for?" And um, he was talking about maceration. I was like, "Damn, boy, you're a smart cookie. You know all about maceration." And he was with his friend, and so that was funny. I was like, guys, I was giggling, like I was having so much fun. Uh even though there was like management who was staring and you know they were being mean, but I wasn't taking anything personally. And apparently, my colleagues, they gathered around me and they were like, "Calvin, did you not realize who was literally right next to you while you were rambling to the customers?" And I said, "Who is there?" And they said, "Tom Hanks." I always get Tom Cruise confused. Yeah, it was Tom Hanks with his wife, and they were buying a candle. And yeah, so that was funny. Another story with celebrities, I wasn't there. Apparently, my friend, yeah, Zara, sorry, oh, I can't say her name. My colleague or friend, whatever you want to call it, she was really sweet. She said that she saw Lily Allen and David Harbour, which is kind of crazy now because of all the drama. You know, she said that Lily Allen was like super small and he was super tall and they were really nice. She also said that Gemma Collins, for those who are Americans who don't know, Gemma Collins, she's like this comedic. A lot of people don't like her. I find her funny. I haven't really followed her in a long time, and it's kind of not really nice, but she basically screamed at my colleague and said, "Excuse me, the toilets are filthy, and by the way, guys, in Selfridges, the toilets are nasty." Like, yeah, that's just unacceptable. They really are. So that's why I tried to not, like, eat or drink the whole shift on my mama. Like, the toilets are genuinely nasty, which is kind of unacceptable. But anyways, don't want to talk about that too much. So that was kind of sad. Like, why would you yell at an 18-year-old girl sales assistant who is just like a perfume sales assistant? You know what I mean? So that was that. That was a bit unpleasant. What else? I don't really think I can tell you any secrets about Selfridges. It's just there's a lot of staff. There's a lot of staff. Upstairs you have like a buffet where you eat and you pay around like £5 to £7, and the food was okay. It's just like, oh, it was annoying. The pay was terrible, and I want to say after 4 weeks I left the agency. On the final day, the mean manager, whatever you want to call it, bless him. I just bless everyone because, you know, I believe 5 people left because of him, which is kind of crazy. Having on the final day, he said, "Oh, Calvin, can you tell me how many products you have sold so far?" And this was a day when it wasn't busy. And I told him, "I think so and so." I don't know. I told him the number, and he said, "Okay, Calvin, this isn't really good. I'm gonna need you to, you know, approach customers more and sell more and more." And in my mind, I thought, well, no, like, there's nothing I can really do. Like, if there's 0 people who don't want to buy anything, it's not that deep. And it's like the company won't suffer. And that was my last day. I was like, I'm done. I've done my job here. I didn't leave because I was upset or anything or took anything personally. I just thought the pay is terrible. You know, all I do is stand and I didn't mention this as well. Blimey, I always forget. But that same manager who wasn't really impressed with me and my sales or whatever, he was also hoping that I would be coming in for the next few weeks because, you know, you have to ask, like, "Oh, are you available?" Because, you know, it's agency. And so they really wanted me on the team since I wasn't bad by any means. I was quite good and very chill. But, yeah, so sorry, y'all. Just go where you're appreciated. You know what I mean? Go where you're celebrated, people. And that's what I did. And, you know, it's quite boring. So yeah, I left after 4 weeks and that was that. The whole day, it was kind of funny and a bit sad because people, what they would do, customers, they would say, "Excuse me, where is so-and-so? Where is this stand? Where is Byredo? Where is this and that?" And it's like the whole time, like because I was new, I didn't know. I was like, "Sorry guys, I don't know. Like so many people ask you questions. So that was, I guess you could say, a difficult thing. Some of the customers that I met were really high vibrational. And I think that was because I was in a very high frequency state. So yeah, like there was just a few amazing conversations that I had. There was this one cute little Asian lady. By the way, I was impressed with the Chinese. Chinese people were buying everything. The Arabs weren't buying anything. I don't know why, like, maybe I just attracted it, but I remember one of the ladies, she was just spraying perfume and she said, "Oh, my husband buy me everything." And I was like, okay. There was another Arab woman for 10 minutes. We were talking. There was another language barrier. She said, "You have for me free sample, free." I don't know. Like it was super weird. I don't know what guys. This was 10 minutes, like back and forth, and I was just smiling and I was like, "Bless." Like I don't understand the word you're saying. She basically wanted samples, like free samples, and I remember we were running out, so we genuinely couldn't give free samples to people. So that was that. But yeah, with the Chinese people, they were just like, this, please. So I found them the most respectful, and just the fashion was amazing. And yeah, so that was nice to see. Like, I would just be amazed. On my break, I would test out a bunch of perfumes. I would have fun. You know, like a lot of perfumes that were on my wish list, I managed to smell. So that was funny. Like just on my break. No, I didn't get any discounts or any commission because it was from an agency, but I do believe that people who work for Selfridges, the pay is good. The pay is good, and I think other different sectors, they do get commission and stuff, and I know that there was big money in that. Another thing that I realized is after a while, what I would do with the perfumes is I would be like, guys, okay, try this perfume. I would point at it because, guys, perfumes are so fucking unsanitary. Like, they really are. And I remember I had no sink where I could wash my hands, so that was a bit of a nightmare. So at one point I would be like, guys, test out this is really nice, or that. And I feel like people actually enjoy spraying perfume bottles themselves rather than the sales assistant. I would write down and I would be like, guys, see how this dries down. I remember there was this one Asian lady, sorry, I'm like all over the place. She was looking for a perfume. We were very, very chill. There were a bunch of perfumes that I didn't like. I was like, hair, spray this. This is Fleur de Peau. It smells very powdery to me. I'm not a fan of this, but let me know what you think. And she kind of giggled. I told her, I was like, oh, there is this underrated perfume called Oyedo. And that was like a Japanese yuzu fruit. You know, this is underrated. Nobody buys it, but I like this. What do you think? And so I was just so chill, so open. And because one of the customers upstairs, because of the genuine interaction, they recommended me a restaurant to go to. And the restaurant was called Zima. It was a Russian restaurant, and it was nice. I went a few months later with a friend. It was nice. And okay, I think I'm gonna end this video by saying that what I learned is it's really not that deep. I kind of feel bad for sales assistants. I think sales assistants, what they can do is just be kind to people. Because you never know, I think, I would never judge a person and think, oh, you look a little bit raggedy, you can't afford this, or you know, I think it's one thing to be working in a luxury environment and one thing being the customer and buying it. So remember that scene in Pretty Woman, y'all. Just be kind and compassionate. I think it's like an ego thing, and because managers pressure them. These days, I have very good experiences with SAs, and what I'll do is I'll be like, hey, like, can you spray this for me rather than me touch the bottle? Because the bottles are unsanitary, like, it is dork-sided, like, literally. Okay guys, and I think I pretty much said everything that I wanted to say. I'm glad that I got this video out of the way. I could have maybe had opportunities to continue working in that environment and make connections. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like you would think perfume maniacs, it would be our dream to work in a perfume store. But you know what it is? I wouldn't want to be surrounded by fragrances like that. And if I was, it would have to be some type of niche or some brand that I maybe don't really care about because you know, it kind of, the line gets blurred. You know, people spraying perfume, it doesn't really feel as special. It doesn't feel like a special hobby, if that makes sense. Like, it doesn't feel like this amazing little secret, like, not really magical and stuff like that. I don't know if that made sense. But yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. Thank you so, so much for watching this video. I want to start ending this video with affirmations and, like, good intentions for everyone who watched this video till the end. So, I think the affirmation will be, I am wealth, I am riches. I have more money coming in than going out. Since today, we were talking about luxury and environment and work. That will be the affirmation that I want you all to focus on. So yes, thank you so, so much for watching this video. I am sprinkling you all with abundance and perfect health and happiness and presence, living in the moment. Peace, y'all. Have an amazing day, evening, whenever you are watching this.